All right, today we're going to go over this cloud generator that I made. This is the second version of it, and we have a lot more that we've added on. So the original cloud generator just had this first half, which kind of changed the detail of the clouds. But I have changed out the noise from the original. Now we're using a Voronoi texture to get kind of the puffy bulbousness of clouds, because I really wanted to get kind of those cumulonimbus clouds. Just wanted to go over the new things that I added, which is a cloud base seed. Just to show you guys what the difference is, it used to just be one noise texture and one gradient texture. So this gradient texture here in the middle is masking out this noise texture right here. And this noise texture is kind of what's adding in those colors, which it actually looks like this. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to also have, because this was going to be how the clouds showed up, I wanted to include another mask that tells this mask where it's allowed to show up. So now we kind of get control over a base shape and then alternate control over the density and complexity of those clouds. So I've added in another noise texture here, which is just a regular noise texture. And I have that being masked with the regular mask here. That is also being multiplied against the bubbly clouds, and that is going out into this. So we have our rectangle. It's very large. The rectangle is, multiple tens of thousands of meters wide, because it's going to be up in the sky. So you have to have your view distance pretty high in order for this to work properly. Regardless, what we have here is the cloud base seed, the cloud base scale, the gap between clouds, the detail of the cloud base, the cloudiness of the cloud base. And so the more you drop that, the more clouds are in the sky, which will change things. And last, the swirl of that cloud base. And remember, the cloud base is the designated shape of the clouds that you're going to have. Up here, you're going to have a lot more of the detail. What is the anisotropy of the clouds that are in there? You also have the cloud seed here, which is going to be the seed of the detail of the clouds. So not the cloud shape seed, which will change the shape seed of the clouds, but the detail seed. So I should probably rename these. I might not. We also have cloud scale. So if you want more and more small details in the greater cloud shape, then you will raise that scale. If you want less and less detail, then you will drop that scale down, and it will drastically lower the amount of detail in your greater cloud. That being said, I like mine sitting probably more at like 12 to 13. I feel like that gives a decent amount of detail. 7's also great. I kind of like that. We also have our swirl of the interior clouds, right? So you can add swirl to the detail and have a regular cloud shape. You can also have a regular cloud detail and a swirled cloud shape. So it's just giving more control over what kind of clouds you're going to have. And so you just get all of these little bits of control that result in what I consider to be a more realistic cloud, a better cloud. But let's try and make some clouds here. Let's just mess around with this. So as far as what I have right now, I kind of like the seed that we have of our clouds. And if you really want to see what the seed is, you can drop your cloudiness down to a lot, and you're going to see kind of the shape, the mask that we have here. We can start messing with some of the scale. We can drop the scale down to get bigger, connected, larger clouds. Let's take the cloudiness up or down a little bit, or drop that down so we can kind of see, okay, so this is going to be a shape right here. That will kind of be a shape right there. I do want to change the seed of our detail here. So again, upper controls our detail. That looks pretty cool. Now let's come back down here. Let's change the seed a little bit of our major cloud shape, the base cloud shape. I like that. That's looking great. We got some kind of cloud there. Now let's add in a little bit more cloudiness here. Kind of define those clouds a little bit more. And let's turn the anisotropy back down to around 0. I tend to like how that disperses light a little bit more. We can go back to our camera real quick. We don't have as much detail as I would like in this. So I'm going to come back up here and I'm going to go to the scale, and I'm going to raise the scale of our main cloud detail. And that's going to give a lot more kind of little fluffs. And then I'm going to come back down here. We've got our cloud gap. I like it with a little bit more of a gap there. That seems to be pretty good. And the cloudiness here, I think I want this to be out a little bit more. I enjoy that. So the cloudiness is actually inverted. So the higher the number, the less clouds are there. And let's add a slight bit of swirl into these clouds as well. I would like to take the detail on these clouds up a little bit. That's how you're going to get a lot more little puffs of cloud. If you don't like the detail, you can drop that down and you'll just get kind of more bulbous, less obviously detail. Kind of changes how the cloud look. Let's try moving this density up. I'm not quite happy with how the light is refracting on that. So let's mess with our sun over here. Can raise that up. That seems to be pretty good. How does the anisotropy affect this? I'm liking that. Now let's get some more detail in there. Try and get those clouds looking a little bit better. Take this scale up and maybe take this scale down. And let's come back down to this gap here. The more that we close this off, the smaller the gap between clouds. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to come down to this cloudiness and I'm actually going to remove a little bit more cloud from it. And then let's take this swirl down as well. Because what I did notice is this, if you add too high of a swirl to the base, you do end up losing the cloud detail. It kind of gets lost in translation. We do have a little bit of swirl here. Let's try and see what it looks like if we add more. I am liking this. This is adding some cool little details in there. I think I am going to try and take this scale down a decent amount and just see how that's going to affect it. I feel like that's getting rid of a little too much. Maybe we can take this down to closer to like 8. That's looking a little bit better. And let's come back down to our gap here. And we'll let that gap slide out just a little bit. Just give us enough space for some of the finer details to show up so the mask isn't crushing it so much. Nice thing is now that I enjoy this feathering, now that I enjoy the detail amount in these clouds, if you're happy with how the detail and the refraction looks and you don't want to change any of that, you could just come down to the cloud base seed. This will give you a new set of clouds, which can be really cool. And once you find something like that, remember this is the shape, this is the detail, shape, detail. So what I'm going to do here is now we can start messing with the shape a little bit more. We've changed the seed value of the shape, but if we want to make our clouds smaller, we can crank up that scale. Keeping the same detail, it will add more little balls of cloud in there. Take that gap down, try and connect some of this together a little bit more. It's just going to be a touch and go process here. That scale might be a little too big. I do like this. I actually want to take that gap up a little bit. I like kind of how these are connecting here. That looks really pretty. Can't really see some detail there, but maybe it's a lighting change, right? So that's another thing you can do is if you don't like the way it's looking, just move your lighting around. Try new thing. That looks great. I love that. Ooh, get a little sunset lighting. And then this happens to be right behind us. Let's get a side lighting. There we go. That looks gorgeous. And so that's pretty much the cloud generator. Easy Clouds is my generator that I have up on Gumroad. This will be added to that. If you don't want to make it yourself, you can go buy it. It helps support me. If you guys want to learn how I made this cloud generator, check out this next video.